Hi, welcome to Yin Yoga. I'm Steven, and we're here for about 45 minutes of Yin Yoga. And all you really need tonight is a prop. For a prop is a mat, but a blanket is good, as is some blocks. Those are always good as well. And a bolster, maybe. Bolster's always good. You can always use a pillow instead of a bolster. We're just going to get started first in an easy seated position. So just Sukhasana, maybe sitting on the edge of that blanket. That helps tilt the pelvis forward. So the top of the head can reach up to the sky. Shoulders can relax. And the palms can be facing down on the thighs to feel more grounded, or palms up to gather in more energy. Drawing the chin and maybe bringing the eyes to a close. Just allowing yourself to shift from the world of doing to the world of just being. And as you begin to stop and turn within, you might notice everything that you brought with you tonight. Maybe plans for later or memories for earlier in the day, from earlier in the day. But just recognizing all those items, and instead simply turn your awareness away from all those concerns and just focus in on your breath for a little bit. Just simply turning your awareness to your natural breath. And finding your inhale. And finding your exhale. Ideally, you want to be breathing through the nose, unless you're congested. Otherwise, noticing the temperature of the air as it comes in and out of the nostrils. And if the mind wanders away from the breath, which it will, that's what it likes to do, just gently bring it back to your breath. And while you're here, paying attention to your breath, seeing if you can simultaneously expand your awareness to include your entire physical form. So just give yourself a little bit of a body scan from the head to the toes. Noticing any sensations in the body. Any slight aches or pains, or maybe noticing your sense of comfort or discomfort in the posture. Just the feeling of your skin's reaction to the temperature in the room that you're in. And just noticing whatever it is. Letting the sensations in the body, along with the awareness of your breath, tying those two together to help keep you grounded, anchored here in your practice tonight. And perhaps taking a moment here to set an intention for your practice. Something you'd like to gain or something you'd like to let go of throughout your efforts and energy. And once your intention or your dedication's been set, just bring the palms of the hands together to Undulating Mudra. Palm to palm near the heart. And we'll just inhale deeply through the nose. And exhale through the mouth, maybe with a sigh. And inhale deeply again through the nose. And exhale with a sigh. And slowly fluttering the eyes open. Welcome again. And from here, we're just going to make our way over to a butterfly pose. A butterfly, still sit on the edge of the blanket that you were sitting on, or maybe unwrapping it once. Just slightly on the edge of it. Help tilting the pelvis forward. And just bringing the soles of the feet together. And we'll bring blocks underneath the thighs. And then maybe taking that bolster, grabbing it, and then placing it on the inside of the feet. And hugging it in like a squished teddy bear. And you can rest the chin on the bolster. You can always readjust if it doesn't feel just right. I feel like I need to shift back slightly. So my ankles are on the cushioning of the mat. You can always readjust. If you don't have any props, you can do this without any props. You can just slowly let the spine droop forward. As if it was a pine tree in winter with too much snow on the top. And it's just drooping forward. And we'll hold each of these postures that we do tonight for about 3 or 4 minutes. And as we do that, maybe bringing the eyes to a close again. Perhaps drawing your awareness back to your breath. Again, just finding your natural breath, not trying to change your breath in any way. And just noticing your inhale. Noticing your exhale. And noticing how you breathe in this posture. And just let your body to settle in. You can always readjust. If you droop farther forward, you might need to change the positioning of the bolster. You can always change where the blocks are under the legs if it doesn't feel just right. And then return again to some stillness. And just scanning the body for sensations as you abide in the breath. You might notice the longer you're in the pose, the more you melt into it. We're seeking to activate the deep connective tissues in the body, all those energy meridians, especially in the lower back, at least in this one. So listening to what's going on in the body. You never want to be experiencing any pain, any sharp pain. If you do, you definitely want to slowly back out of wherever you are, readjust. You can always go back to that easy seated pose that we started with, Sukhasana. Again, you might notice the longer you're in a pose, the more you can melt into it. Maybe you need to back out slightly. Listening to that teacher within. That inner cue from your proprioceptive awareness. Scanning the body for what it needs tonight. While we're holding these poses, the mind might wander away to other matters, and that's fine if it does. But if it does, just gently bring it back to the breath and back to the sensations in the body. We'll begin to deepen the breath, taking a deeper inhale and a deeper exhale. And slowly beginning to unfurl the spine back up. And setting bolsters aside for a moment. Just maybe coming back into Sukhasana, just listening to the reverb of that first posture in the body. Noticing any imprints it might have left in the spine, in the ankles, anywhere else. And coming back. We'll make our way over to hands and knees to table position. You're welcome. Take the blanket you're sitting on. Placing it under the knees, I have to open it up extra time. So it's a little bit wider than the mat. And then from here, we're just going to bring the big toes together and the knees wide apart. We're going to make our way to a child's pose, wisdom pose. Bring the forehead to the ground. Yeah. You can always bring that bolster between the knees. On your way to a supportive child's pose. Again, we'll be here for about 4 minutes. If this doesn't feel like enough for you today, you can always take frog pose instead. In frog, you would take your knees a little bit wider, come down to the inside of the feet, working the hips towards the ground. Maybe you can use that bolster again for frog pose. So that's another option. And again, just finding your attention, whether you're in frog or in child's pose, towards your awareness of your breath, but not trying to change your breath, just noticing how the breath is responding to the pose. And noticing what's going on in the body, noticing the sensations. Listening for those inner cues if you need to back out early. Maybe the body opens up a little bit the longer you're in the pose. And if you get that inner cue to turn the head the other direction, it'd be quiet. No need to rush, but if the side of the neck doesn't feel quite right any longer, then you can turn it to the other side. Listening to the breath. You just scan the body for sensations. What's going on in the inner part of the knee, the hip joint, sternum, anything else? You feel a tingling sensation that doesn't feel good, you can always back out. You feel like you're losing circulation in your toes, and putting too much pressure on your knees, whatever it might be. Listening to that inner cue, you can always come back to child's pose if you've had enough time in frog. You can always turn the head in the other direction. You don't have to be a statue. You don't have to stay still and frozen in the posture you began in. Beginning to deepen the breath, taking a deeper inhale, and a deeper exhale, walking the hands in slowly, as gracefully as possible. Coming back up to hands. Maybe shifting left to right. Finding just some stillness. And listening to the impressions that pose left in the body. Maybe taking a child's pose. You were in frog. Always come back up. Maybe to hero's pose. Just listening for the reverb in the body. The posture that you were just in. The impressions. Activation. Maybe keeping the blanket where it is under the knee. Keeping that bolster nearby. We're going to find our way ultimately to a pigeon pose or a swan, as it's called in yin. Maybe first coming up in the downward dog, which is not really a yin pose, but helps me get my right legs high, maybe bending the knee, opening up the hip a little bit, and then bringing that lower half of the right leg forward. You can take this pose on your back. This doesn't feel right. Maybe bringing a block under the head, under the forehead. You can also take this pose upright, in an upright swan. You can use your blocks here. So more of a back bend. We're going to hang out here for about 3 minutes. If that doesn't feel good on the knee, you can always be on your back instead. The figure 4 variation. Either using your hands to draw that left thigh in, or even putting your foot on a block. That's just if you want. It doesn't feel good to be in a more classical variation. Again, we'll be here for about 3 minutes. You're welcome to use that bolster too. Either resting on it again, like we have been doing. You can also take the bolster, put it under the pelvis. Move to down dog and bring it right leg over it. And then come down. Whatever feels good. Finding your variation. Swan. And again, you might notice the longer you're in the pose, the more your body opens up to it. Scanning the body for sensations. You always take a block, put it under that right hip. It doesn't feel good either. And again, just noticing how this posture affects the breath. Noticing what's going on in that right hip, the right knee, the right ankle, and everything else. You might not farther into the pose, and maybe you don't need that block under the third eye anymore. It's okay to be slightly uncomfortable, but if anything is painful, you definitely want to back out of it. And then again, beginning to deepen the breath, taking a deeper inhale A deeper exhale, slowly walking the hands in. Removing that block from under the right hip. Curl those left toes under. And just come back to downward dog. Keep pedaling the feet. Even finding just some stillness in the downward facing dog. Noticing the difference between the two sides of the body. We'll inhale, lift the left leg up. Bend the knee, opening up that left hip for a moment. When you feel ready, bringing that left leg forward. Setting up for your swan on this side. Again, it can be an upright swan. More of a back bend. And some upright swan. You're sinking the hip, lengthening the spine, relaxing the shoulders. And for the sleeping one, finding your way to the ground. You can always use the bolster or the block under the left hip. You can use a block under the third eye. You can relax the spine all the way to the floor. And again, the longer you hold the pose, the more you might melt into it. You can always take this on your back in the figure 4 variation if it bothers the knee. It might feel great in the knee. It might feel great in the hip. Listening to that teacher within. What does your body need tonight? Maybe another edge opens up. Deepening the breath. Taking a deeper inhale. A deeper exhale. You need to walk the hands and elbows under the shoulders. Coming up. Removing that block. Shifting over to your left hip this time. Maybe removing that blanket from under your knees. Turning it to the side for a moment. We're going to find our way onto our back. Or bridge or waterfall. And it could be a supported bridge. One of those blocks, or even maybe two of the blocks would be even better. Just walk the feet in a little bit. So you can almost slightly angled, but not quite. And then putting a block under the pelvis, under the sit bones, under the sacrum. Maybe turning it up a level. Maybe the medium height. Maybe you're just hanging out here. Maybe this is where you need to be. If you want to invert tonight, you can bring one leg up and the other leg up. And you got waterfall going on. Otherwise, just hanging out in your supported bridge. Again, you're scanning the body for sensations. And you're just listening to your natural breath. Noticing any adjustments the body wants to make. You don't want to be fidgety, but you definitely want to listen to the body if it wants to slightly adjust. And then find stillness again. And find your way back to your breath. And back to just scanning the body for sensations. And this is like a little bit of a back bend. It's our main back bend for this evening. It's a wonderful posture if your lower back is achy sometimes. And again, the mind might wander away, but just bring it back to your breath, and back to the sensations in your physical form. And beginning to deepen the breath, taking a deeper inhale. And a deeper exhale. If your legs are reaching the ceiling, gently lowering them down. Lift the hips just high enough to take that block out. Lower down, vertebra by vertebra. We'll walk the feet out to the edges of the mat and just windshield wiper the knees a little bit from side to side. In stillness, we're going to walk the hips to the right, draw the knees in, and just drop the knees to the left. You can even eagle the legs, so taking that right leg over the left, and then using your left hand to grab that right under that outside of that right knee. And then making sure your shoulders are grounded. Maybe you're gazing to the right. Just getting a big twist in the spine, wringing it all out. Seeing if you can relax both the feet. Listening to the breath. And then we'll deepen the breath. Let go of that right knee. Unwrap the legs. Bring him back to the middle for a moment. Notice the reverb. And then begin to walk the hips to the left and take that left leg, wrap it around the right. Slowly lowering the knees. Again, using your right hand this time to give yourself a little self-assist under that left knee, reaching that left shoulder blade towards the floor. Maybe turning your drishti over the left shoulder. And again, just listening to the breath and relaxing the feet. And bringing out all the toxins. Your whole body's like a wet washcloth. And you're just twisting it all out. Noticing how this pose affects your breath. And deepening the breath. Letting go of your self-assist. Unwrapping the legs. Slowly unwinding back to the center. Once the spine is lengthened and long, let's just draw the knees in. Pavanasana. Or a happy baby if you really want a happy baby. Otherwise, just hanging out in Apanasana and rocking side to side a little bit. Giving the kidneys a massage. And then once the kidneys are fully massaged, we'll find our way to Shavasana. So it could just be that you're reaching the legs out and boom, you're there. But if you want to take that bolster again and slide it under the knees, it's a good thing to do. Maybe rolling the shoulders under, lengthening the neck, lowering the head back down, removing eyeglasses, maybe putting an eye pillow over the eyes, maybe putting a blanket over the body. However it takes to find your perfect resting pose, absorbing the benefits of your practice today, and just releasing into your mat, into the floor, letting everything go. And of course, you're welcome to stay here in this Shavasana for as long as you like. You can just go to sleep if you want, but if you have other things to do, really finding your way back to your breath again. Deepening the breath. Beginning to wiggle the ankles and the wrists and the fingers and the toes. Dropping the head to the left, to the right. And find stillness. As you walk feet in, rolling over to your favorite side, whether it might be the left or the right. Just finding a seedling pose, pose of new beginnings, fetal position. Just for a breath or two. Noticing how you feel now versus the beginning of class. When you feel ready, no need to rush. Slowly find your way back up to Sukhasana. Back up to that easy seated pose where we began. You'll be keeping the eyes closed for a moment longer. And just bring the palms of the hands together and onto the mudra at the heart center. We're close to now. Just one chant of Om to seal the practice. Joining with me if you wish. Take a deep inhale. And then Om. Inhaling deeply. Slowly open your eyes. Namaste. Thanks for coming to Wednesday, yeah. And hope you all have a wonderful evening, and I'll see you all again very, very soon, I hope. Have a great night.